All right, guys, welcome back. It is now 7.33, and we have another coaching session. This is going to be the first coaching session of the new patch. So we'll do the best we can do. And student is still recalibrating, but you said you've been playing against higher ranked players?
Yeah, I played one game I played against a fucking divine.
Really?
He wasn't ranked yet, but that's what he said his old rank was.
Gotcha.
But generally it's been higher Archon to mid Archon and some legend.
Nice, dude. What did I say, right? I said you were better than Guardian. Proof's in the pudding, baby.
It's freaky though, because it's like I played so long in that bracket that now playing in this new bracket, I'm like, oh shit, these people are not making the same mistakes.
Yeah. You know
well,
I mean, a lot of our coaching sessions were revolving around finding minor fucking things to improve upon, because it was already like, yeah, this is good. You're winning your lane.
Yeah.
Oops, you threw on high ground. Not really your fault. Good luck next week. It's just you know what I mean? Like a lot of them were just dealing with bad players, right? Which is still going to be the case. But it's going to be different.
No,
now.
Yeah, definitely. I've already had games where it's felt like, I'm playing against people that are making kind of the same sort of mistakes and playing with them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like you said, it's less so. But it's also, it feels like people know what they're doing more. Especially,
Definitely.
maybe not in necessarily about macro concepts of the game, but with their heroes for sure.
Yeah, that's, I think, once you get to Archon, that's where you get a lot more mechanical proficiency. They might not know what they're supposed to be doing, but they're going to do it decently, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Like I was saying before, when I was in Archon, the biggest issue was people just didn't know where they were supposed to be on the map, and then tons of high ground throws, and that was basically it. But what questions do we have for this week? So now we're playing against better players.
Yeah.
And that should be bringing new questions with it. What do we got?
So it's a little hard for me to have a specific one, just because it feels like getting dropped into cold water a bit. So it's it's so much new shit.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously,
do you mean
with the map,
just with the patch, or with the better players as well?
I would say mostly just playing with better people.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just certain things were happening, and I wasn't quite sure entirely why I was losing or why the game was going a certain way.
Okay.
So the best example is the Axe game I lost most recently.
Okay.
That had, I think, the Slarder on the other team was the Divine player. We just kind of got stomped out.
Okay.
I mean, part of it might be people were trying different shit. Our Zeus was going for the new melee build.
Yeah, the right-clicky Zeus build.
But still, there were times where I'm just not even sure what the fuck to do in this situation.
Okay. Well, all right. Let's have a look at this one then. Let's get this one downloading. Just not sure. Was it specific instances of not sure what to do, or you feel like the entire game was weird, or what?
It was, I didn't know how to respond to my lane, and in general, I don't know if Axe felt like it. I didn't know if it was my pick, if Axe was just not a great pick for this game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was just hard, and I wasn't sure what to do about it.
Okay. So we got, how do we respond to our lane? Was Axe a good pick? And anything else? The mid game was hard, the late game was hard, or what? Just in general, the whole thing?
Kind of all of the above.
Okay. Game hard, what do? Alright. Put that in there. Well, okay, so we can only judge the Axe pick based on the pick order, right? So you actually got the last pick. Jesus. Alright. So it's you and Storm last picking.
Yeah. Also, Sand King had gotten banned.
Okay. Okay.
So that's why I didn't pick Sand King.
Do I like Axe here? Okay. So I would say Axe is generally gonna function in two ways, right? So he's probably gonna stomp his lane. And he kind of needs to, because he needs to have the blink, so he needs a good lane matchup. He's typically going to be good against melee heroes, not ranged heroes. He's going to be good against supports that are not good at last hitting because of how Battle Hunger works, right?
Yeah.
And then also, he's good against illusions, summons, things like that. Axe wants to be against a lot of targets. So none of these heroes are summoning illusion heroes. So that's kind of a point against the Axe. If you know you're against Slardar or Abaddon, then that's decent, right, for you. And then Lich and AA, or if either one's the 5, like they're not the best last hitters, so that's okay. So, and then also the other thing is, you don't know about it yet, but like the Axe Storm Spirit matchup, if you have to be the catch for the Storm, that can be really good or really hard to do.
Yeah. I did have a couple times where I caught him.
Yeah, the other thing to think about is is how easy is it for me to just murder people with my ult? So are they squishies? Yeah. So Axe really likes going up against squishy heroes. You are against 2 strength heroes, so not as easy. And then the other thing is, how much am I synergizing with my team? So the Axe is a nice block pick with PL. So there's no Axe against the PL, so that's good for you. You're a great setup for Witch Doctor. You go well with Hoodwink, and you're good with Zeus. So theoretically, this should be fine. Just on paper.
Yeah.
Okay. That's it. So I'm assuming you're off lane Axe. Let's talk about items first. What was your thinking on the items? Starting items.
So I figured I was going to be against Lich. So I bought Stick for his Q spam.
Makes sense.
Branches so that I could eventually build, but also because just for more health.
Yeah, branches are always just good. Yeah. How about the mango? Do you think you needed the mango?
The reason for the mango is because I know Axe is kind of a little bit mana hungry.
Mm-hmm.
So I couldn't really figure out what else would have been better.
I would say just more branches.
Yeah.
Or even just saving a little bit of gold so you can just buy them after the bounty runes. I don't think you need a mango here.
Yeah.
30 seconds to battle.
Let's run it through. I like that you guys are invading this part of the jungle, because I do think this bounty rune should be contested by Dire because it's on low ground.
Yeah.
I dig that. Have you noticed that it's not the same on the other side of the map? The Dire bounty rune is on high ground for some reason, and the Radiant one is on low ground.
That's fucking weird.
I don't know why. it's really weird. Yeah. So I like that you're contesting this one. One thing to think about, though, if you know you're against an Abaddon, because he shows down here, your Battle Hunger is dispellable.
Yeah.
So, not a great spell against him.
Yeah.
In particular. Let's put up the last hit thing. How do you feel like the lane went? Was the lane okay, or what?
I'm trying to remember. I think it was pretty meh, if not bad for us.
Actually, real quick, let's look at the graphs, because I didn't look at that. It seems like they were just winning for most of it, which is kind of what's going on nowadays. So you're against Lich, Abaddon. So you won on net worth.
Yeah.
and XP. So yeah, okay. So you're supposed to win this lane. So let's see.
Well, ain't this cute? Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
The blade of axe has tasted.
Abaddon is a tough person to lane against in general, though. But I don't know. Maybe Axe isn't the best pick against
Yeah.
Abba if you think you're against Abaddon, because he does this crap. Just bully you out of lane. I'd say you kind of, even though he's low there, you pretty much never want to waste Battle Hunger on
Yeah.
him. And I think I would start E in this lane purely because he can dispel.
Yeah.
But Ring of Health still a good item, so I like that you picked that up. Going Vanguard. This is also kind of the problem. Like Abaddon's like really hard to pressure. Typically. And Axe is going to function well off pressuring people, so I wouldn't expect that an Axe would just stomp an Abaddon in lane, kind of ever. But he's overextending a little bit. I think another thing is you don't necessarily need to defensive aggro as much with an Axe.
Yeah.
Because of counter helix, like you kind of want to, I don't know, maybe
Yeah,
you
it
do
was
because you're
the
surrounded by
only-
all
yeah.
the creeps.
And once he slows you and stuff like that, it was a little bit like I felt like that was like kind of a balancing act.
Not this time.
Like I had to know when it was okay to do that and when he could just run me down and kill me.
Yeah, I think you're right. Oh, there you go, nice. All right, have you gotten any of these Lotus orbs or Lotus pools yet?
I did that the next game. I did not even know about that this game.
Okay, so that's gonna be a big objective now. So, did you play when there was a side shop?
Yes.
Okay, you need to think of the Lotus Pool as a side shop. Whoever
Yeah,
is
true.
pushed up to this or past it has control of it, and that means free regen for you.
So is that only at a certain time?
Yes, so the Lotuses spawn every 3 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Every 3 minutes, these bad boys spawn, and they're kind of like just a water room, if you want to think of it like that. If it's a very back and forth lane, this Lotus Pool could make the difference. So being able to push past it and get control of it, or sneak away to go grab it whenever possible, is going to be a really big thing.
Cool. I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, definitely be thinking about this. And the other thing you should be thinking about all the time, I'm not even kidding, be thinking about these twin gates all the time. These are incredibly important, and I think people aren't utilizing them enough. I'm not saying you should have done anything with them at this point.
No,
I'm just
yeah,
saying,
for
like, this always needs to be in the back of your mind, right?
Yeah, especially because you can duck off to the Lotus pool part, and they don't even necessarily see you go to the gate unless they warn it.
There's just it's just the ability, like, if you, let's say you like double kill these guys here,
Yeah.
you know, like theoretically you can just be like, all right, cool, let's go to the gate and jump top, and then you go jump
Yeah.
over here, and now it's a 4v2 up top.
Yeah.
Like, I think the potential these gates introduce is very, very swingy lane phases, because now the side lanes are effectively adjacent because of these two things.
Yeah. Especially if like the other side is getting dove and you can just kind of follow up on it really
Yeah,
easily.
yeah, you can come in behind them, you can like smoke and run through here. Like, there's a bunch of things you can do with this. It's really important. But we're not at that really point yet, so just be thinking about these Lotuses and grab these. It's been 6 minutes, and if you haven't grabbed one yet, that's like, what, 250 health?
Yeah.
'Cause I think they're, what, 125 or something? Yeah, 125 health and mana. That's not nothing, right?
Yeah, no, for sure.
So that right there, that was a case of maybe you didn't notice that Hoodwink was doing a pull, and you like kept going kind of aggro here. You might want to back up a bit once you're doing the pull.
Yeah. But yeah, it felt a lot like this, like very back and forth kinda.
Mm-hmm.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
I mean, you're 2-0. Like we looked at, you won this lane, so.
Dire's top tower.
Where the hell did the level 6 AA come from? Jesus. Did he come through the gate there? Ah, okay, so here's what I was talking about. Oh, he just TP'd in. Okay. He just TP'd in. Gotcha.
Radiant's middle
I was wondering if he
tower
came
is
through.
under attack.
Oh, not much you can do about that besides paying attention to like missing heroes and stuff. But it's AA anyway, so he's global.
Right.
Turn this down a bit.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oops.
Radiant's mid
So what point do you think it's like getting really difficult to decide what to do?
Maybe more into the mid game. I
Okay.
think like they just at some point it stops being even like this and they start to just kind of like put their foot on our neck.
Yeah, well, it looks like you guys have just abandoned top lane.
Yeah, that happened. That was very weird. Like everyone started playing down here and I'm like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. So the other advantage to these gates, by the way, is that it's very, very easy to do lane swaps. So if you notice that you're in like a bad matchup or whatever, you can be like, yo, let's swap, and you just like, it doesn't cost you TP. You just, you know, take some time, walk over here, and now you're top, right? So that's another thing to keep in your back pocket. Like, you can lane swap. Not that you needed to, but if they needed to, right? That could have been an option. Yeah, this is just a case of like, this is how this map goes. It's really snowbally. Like once one lane is won, the other lanes seem to go pretty quickly as well.
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
Grab the Lotus.
Bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire's mid tower.
Go get the Lotus pool, there's two of them. Go get it! I think at this point, once I die here, I'm not coming back to this lane anymore.
Yeah.
I think I would just be like, all right, fine. They win this one too. I'm going to go top or something. Just because it seems like both teams are investing heavily in this and your team is not doing it right.
Yeah.
So now you're getting ganked a lot, which is slowing you down.
Yeah, and I think that's really what started to make things feel awkward was that like at this point I felt behind
Yeah.
and I was like, I don't have Blink, they're getting strong, like what do I do to fucking catch up?
Yeah. I think what I would do from here, I wouldn't have come back here. I would have just probably TP'd out here or just TP'd here and started pushing the empty lane. And then if they respond and I want to leave, I've got a lot of jungle I can dip into, or I can just go back in the gate and come back to bottom. Or like while I'm doing this, if it looks like they're going to die at bottom, I can go in the gate and I can come up behind them or something like that. But I would just start avoiding this area until I have my blink, because it is slowing you down. So, okay, it took you one extra death to get there. That's good.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
I also I don't think I would go Blade Mail before Blink here. I think
Yeah,
I'd
I
go...
started it and then I realized that that was not the move.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I haven't looked at the full item progression yet. But that's good that you caught it. Now that they're kind of not bottom anymore, like you can go back to bottom now. It's fine. I like that you're defending mid. How do you feel about the neutral items now that you get to pick a bunch of different ones?
It's honestly it's a little bit more overwhelming.
Oh,
Because
okay.
it's like, sometimes, I mean, it's not necessarily every time. Like, sometimes I think it's kind of obvious. But, more so with, like, the new hero type.
Oh,
It's like-
okay, yeah.
Do I want this for this effect, or do I want, like, an all-attribute thing that's going to give me a ton of damage?
Hmm, interesting. I don't know how... I'm gonna be honest, I don't know how important the universal thing is.
Yeah.
Outside of, like, if you're actually a carry or not. Like, if you're actually trying to do a lot of right-click damage, like, I wouldn't be thinking about it otherwise. I don't think it's that relevant.
Would you look at that last fight before?
Yeah, the one top?
Tell me if I fucked up there, or I mean, I must have, but
Well, let's see. Let's
more so how.
start back here. Put it on normal speed. You're always dead. Where do I look? Okay, you TP top. This is fine because you got PL pushing down here. Mid is gonna, I mean, you got heroes nearby. They can push this out easily enough. I think I'd be getting the wave first as opposed to doing this. A lot of creeps dying for nothing over here.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack. Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Your skin makes it look like you have Ion Shell on you all the time. It's very
It
confusing.
kind of does.
I need to put it on just your vision, actually. Let's see. So you thinking like this fight was bad, or?
Yeah, or did I, like, even if it's bad, could I have executed it better?
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Yeah. So you jumped too early, is what happened here. So Axe doesn't do a lot of damage, right?
Yeah.
So you're just here to stun people. This is gonna be. You also know that at most this is gonna be a 3v5 because Zeus is over here doing whatever and PL is doing whatever, right? So it's just your supports with you. So whoever you catch needs to be in range of these two. That's the main thing.
Yeah.
I would have jumped here, actually. This is where I'm going. Because, like, he's threatening your damage.
Yeah.
So if you want to get any kills done here, you need Witch Doctor to be part of that. So this isn't just like a... Like, actually, once Witch Doctor dies, any gank attempt here is done. Like, I'm running away. So I'd actually blink right here in between all these creeps and try and get all three of these. And that sets up for her to do her thing, and hopefully Witch Doctor survives and maybe just starts ulting immediately.
Radiant's bottom tower.
But now that he's safe, because she's backed up... Yeah, I would have blinked right here. Okay, he's good. Okay, I'm waiting. I'm waiting. Yeah, I just would have waited longer. If you had waited longer, based on the motion of everybody, it kind of would have been the same thing again. But you can't necessarily see all this super easily, but like these two are running up here. It would have just been the same thing again. Like they're going to try and jump your Witch Doctor and then you just blink on them, right? Because here, this is good. You went for the person that looked like they got hit by the arrow. But it's just like a basically, I mean, you got the Hellbear, but it's kind of just a one-man taunt, so it's not too great.
Yeah, it's not that great.
And Witch Doctor's not really in range to do anything, and Witch Doctor's about to die to this Ice Blast anyway, so... Yeah, you just had to wait a little longer on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Axe is tough, because you need to hit a Blink taunt that's a grouping with backup damage nearby.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically. So it would have been either you jump when Witch Doctor gets jumped, or you just wait a little longer and wait for a better one. And if one doesn't show up, then it doesn't show up. That's fine. Let's go back to 2x. Mid defend. I feel like also, by the way, going mid really doesn't feel good anymore. It feels so far removed from everything.
Yeah.
It's definitely feels like no man's land. So if I go to mid, I actually feel like I'm kind of isolating myself, which is strange, right? Because it used to be the exact opposite. It used to be like, oh, I'm going mid, now I have access to everything. It's like, kind of no.
Yeah.
That's sort of the side lanes now. I'm wondering how that's going to evolve.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Like a good bauble.
It's a minor thing, but I'm gonna start pointing this stuff out now that you are playing against better players. I do this exact same thing all the time, and sometimes it bites me in the ass.
Yeah. I do think about that sometimes when I blink towards something that's like not really a priority. It's like, well, now you don't have blink and you're on a creep wave.
Yep. So I would try to restrain yourself from doing this from now on, just because like sooner or later it'll cost you, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like the same concept of like you see like really high level players and they kind of like don't use their bottle charges.
Yeah.
They just use their passive regen, and I'm the same way. I use them all up like immediately because I'm bad. So it's just this type of thing. You got to be careful about this. Not a big deal. But while you're here, grab the Watcher, grab the Lotuses.
Yeah.
Yep. Get these mini objectives. There's always something to be clicking on.
Are scattered. Radiant are scattered.
And you actually, it's strange now, but the twin gates are both, they're definitely a double-edged sword, because while you're in this area, it's giving you access to top, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it's giving the other team access to bottom as well. So if you guys are all
Right.
chilling here and you're not paying attention and they all like come in behind you or something like that, like it can
Yeah.
be really like disastrous. So I would just treat this entire area, and this entire area is kind of a danger zone. Like, even if no one is shown top forever, like if you don't have vision of the other gate, you actually just kind of need to assume that they're here.
Yeah.
And so if your supports aren't doing it, I would take the time to steal a ward and ward at least one of the gates. I think once it gets to this mid game where tier 1 towers have fallen down, I actually think it's a priority that both gates are warded at all times.
Yeah.
This Watcher's not enough. It doesn't see people coming out of the gate. It kind of sucks ass. Actually, all of the Watchers kind of suck ass. They don't really see anything relevant. So this needs to have a ward on it. That's not your job. You're a core. I'm just saying, like, usually there's a period of the game where like someone hasn't bought a ward, right?
Yeah.
Then this TP is kind of it's the same thing. You don't need to do this anymore. You can just walk here and use the gate.
Yeah.
Like, it's good that you showed up because you guys think they're doing Roche and everything, but just use the gate and then come up, save your TP, right? But let's look at decision making in the fight. That's the main thing. Just be thinking about those. And in these fights, there's no channels to interrupt. So your job then is to either, it's basically right now it's like defensive. So, or it's to catch the Storm Spirit because everybody else has trouble catching him. So you should be looking to blink onto Storm Spirit here, or blink to peel off of your squishy damage dealers. Like there's a great one, yeah. You got baited by an illusion or something there. Let's see. How the hell did he? Oh, he lotused.
I'm sorry, could you repeat like the last like 20 seconds? My computer froze.
Gotcha. Yeah, I can hear myself through the thing now. Are we good?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So what I was saying is, when you come up here, you need to be thinking about like what your best blink call is going to be. And I think it would be Storm Spirit because he's hard for your team to catch. You're really the only, you and Hoodwink are kind of the only good lockdown for him. Or you're going to blink defensively to peel for your backline guys. So it would be like trying to save Zeus over here, or trying to save Witch Doctor wherever he is, he's dead, or trying to save Hoodwink. Like those are the blinks I'm looking for. I wouldn't really be bothering looking for like a blink onto like AA or something like that. And then this one is unfortunate because you blinked onto a Lotus spawned illusion of Slardar. Very unfortunate.
Wait, what is the what?
So what happened here, I don't know if you noticed this, but somebody Lotused Slardar. He has Lotus Orb on him. PL hit him with Spirit Lance, and that created a Slardar illusion.
Oh, wow.
Which is super bizarre.
It was like, what? I remember. I was like, what the fuck was that illusion?
Yeah. So you jumped an illusion instead of the actual Slardar, because this would have been an amazing call right here. If you can get this 3-man call, that is freaking sweet. Or get Storm in there too, that would have been great, but you jumped an illusion. So that's the big oof here.
Yeah.
Definitely. And this is definitely a miscommunication here, because you're going this way with them, and PL is looking for more in the backlines. This fight's getting weird.
That one is broken.
Thank you, Sidebrek. And given that you're still full and PL is still in here, I wouldn't be leaving just yet.
Yeah.
Because you're not really. I don't think the fight is quite over yet. PL has like Manta Diffusal, like he can actually beat these guys if he has a little bit of help. So I wouldn't leave him. Like maybe he's staying a little bit longer than he should, but like the two of you actually can get a lot of kills together because he's just draining all their mana.
Yeah.
Like imagine if you were close enough to call right here, right?
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where it's like, I don't know whether to stay or not because somebody is making what feels like to me a dumb decision.
I think I would all in here.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's kind of like we lose either way.
Yeah, I mean, well, the reason I would stick around to help this PL is because, I mean, he is your carry, he is strong, and they don't even have like great answers for him. So it means like even if he's a little bit low, like he can actually outfight these guys. But you have to remember the entire reason you guys came up here is because you thought they were doing Roche, right?
Yeah.
So that means like if you don't win this fight, they're gonna get Roche. So I would be like, I'd be willing to die for this fight. You know, I'm helping my PL. we can actually, we have turn potential. We can win this fight, and there's actually stakes on the line because they're trying to Roche. Now the fight's over, and Witch Doctor should not be doing this. That's not your call, though. So that's it. This is a little bit of the fight got a little chaotic. You guys didn't have good vision for it. PL stayed a little bit too long. You left too early. And you initiated on an illusion. So that's all the things that went wrong here.
Yeah.
Okay. So where do we go from here? They get Roche. I guess, yeah. PL's in, so you just commit to it. But this is kind of ballsy. Yeah, I guess you guys could just farm this. This was fine. I was thinking about, like, would it have been worth it once they do have the Aegis to just jump through the gate and come bottom? To start splitting the map up a little bit. I guess this is fine too.
Radiant's top tower is under attack. Dire's bottom
Thinking about what neutral item to grab.
tower is under attack.
I can see that. Also, don't forget your TP scroll. That's going to become really important as well, making sure you always got one. Okay, good. That's going to become important because the map is so much bigger, right? So if you're not actually staying near gates, it's going to be really, really important that you can TP. And by the way, the map is not actually that much bigger.
No,
it's just that it's
weird.
extended.
It feels huge, but it's really not that much bigger.
Yeah, like I think the distance between lanes is basically the same. The main jungle might be a little bit bigger than it was before, but the main reason it feels bigger is just because of all this junk going on the side.
Yeah.
So if you just ignore all that, it's pretty much the same size map, I think.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, you're gonna need TP scrolls all the time. That's fine, you got one. I think BKB pickup is good here. Nice. Okay, it didn't work. Let's look at that one. You see them. What I have called there? So my perspective right now, any fight that happens, you know you're fighting into Aegis, right? And also the tempo of what's going on is right now the enemy team is looking for a fight. So whenever that's the case, I'm really hesitant to actually give them one.
Yeah.
If they're like, we can win a fight, let's go, and they're fucking running into your triangle to look for a 5-man fight, like I'd be super hesitant to commit to a fight here. And so if you go make this play to try and save PL, it has to be with like basically like two objectives in mind. So the first one is like, this call is gonna like win us the team fight and we're gonna kill them instead, or I am just calling to save PL and then he's going to get out and survive. And if you're not confident of either one of those things, you have to just let this go. So if you don't think you can actually save the PL and you don't think this call is going to do enough damage or set up for you guys to turn it and kill them instead, then I wouldn't do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Like, see, you hesitated. You waited till PL was really low, and then you guys all die anyway. And I guess it's, you know, 2 for 4. It's definitely not great. I think you got baited a little bit there.
Dire's middle tower has fallen. Dire's middle tower.
At this point, probably what's going to happen is the enemy team is going to separate and start doing random stuff. So this is where I'd be calling for your team to go do the Tormentor.
Yeah.
It looks like you guys haven't done it. I don't think either teams. No, they've done theirs. You guys should do yours soon.
Does that give XP or just the shard?
No, it gives gold, XP, and the shard.
Oh, okay.
It's like doing Roche.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know, because then I'll start calling for that more, because I wasn't sure if it was just the shard.
It's a very, very relevant objective. The two main downsides to doing it are that it's on the very edge of the freaking map and super far away from everything.
Yeah.
So if you're doing this, you are giving up tempo on the map, and also you can accidentally kill your supports while you're doing it. And I've died twice already to a Tormentor, so yeah, that's it's one of those things like you really and I think this kind of goes for the majority of the new objectives like Watchers, Lotus Pools, Tormentors, blah 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 blah. These are all relevant objectives, but only if you actually have time to do them.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's worth like, oh, we got to get this Watcher. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's smoke to go get it. Like it's not. They're just not that important. The same thing with the Lotus Pools. These are good for like the laning, and then past the laning, this is what happens. They end up pooling up, and then someone gets like a greater healing Lotus off of it, and that is relevant, right?
Yeah.
But it's not like a tower, right?
Wait, so if it spawns like a certain amount, then it'll be a bigger item?
Oh, okay, yeah. So let's talk about how those work. So 3 healing lotuses turn into a great healing lotus, which does 400 health and mana instead of 125 times 3. So it's a slight boost. 3 great healing lotuses turn into a greater healing lotus, which does 900 health and mana, which is like half a cheese.
Yeah, that's pretty huge.
And then if you can get 3 greater healing lotuses, and you can get the cheese from Rashawn, you get a block of cheese, which gives you a permanent 500 health barrier that regenerates. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why I'm saying they're kind of only relevant early or late because you want to pool them up.
True.
But it is hilarious. Stupid block of cheese. I do like that there's that decision point. Like, oh, do I want to use this or do I want to save it up? Because maybe I'll get the cheese, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, this would have been a good time to do the Tormentor, for sure.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
I'm seeing you walk around a lot, and that's usually because you're not sure of what to do, right?
Yeah.
Dire's structures are fortified.
Which I think is a bit warranted because you are falling behind in levels and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think it's a mixture of that. Like, is there things that I'm not paying attention to on the map that I should be?
The map is super weird now. So I'm not sure. I mean, it depends on what it is you're looking for. But what I would say is, I understand the hesitancy to like, oh, I'm not sure what to do. I'm not sure what to do. I think the best thing for you, though, is just pick something and do it.
Yeah.
And if you can't think of anything and you're really not sure and you're like scared of feeding, like just go hit a camp. Just the nearest fucking camp. Like, I'm going to go to this camp. Just farm if you can't figure out what to do. Because usually you can't figure out what to do because you feel like you're going to feed if you do it, right? Like, I'm behind on levels, I'm behind on gold, whatever. So just go farm, you know? Like, all this period you've been walking around in here, kind of not doing anything. Just as an example, right? Not saying it's the main thing, because you've been here for actually several minutes. After this Rax push, you've just been orbiting this area, this whole area here, right? As an alternative, like something you could have done, you could have just gone up here and just farmed all these camps.
Yeah.
You know? Or if you feel like super ballsy and you want to kind of make space at the same time a little bit, the other thing you could do is you could TP here, jump in the gate, and farm all their camps down here.
True.
Like, you really got to like start factoring in these edges of the map to everything you're
'cause
doing.
That's really what those things should be used for.
Mhm.
You know, a little bit of like kind of like a less risky way to get some farm when you're kind of pushed back.
Yeah, and just for reference, right? So now there's 6 jungle camps in here, and there's 6 here, right? Where's the other one? I think there's 6 on each side. Yeah, there's 2, and then 2, and then 2, and then there's these 6 here. There's fucking 5 on each side. It's an entire other jungle. Like, you actually need to think of the jungle as being like twice as large now because of that. Yeah. So there should always be somewhere for you to farm. There's the least farm over here because it's just the Tormentor and the Ancients. And I'd say actually the primary jungles are one of the most dangerous places on the map now. Because of the sheer size of them, it is incredibly hard to establish like firm vision over this whole thing.
Yeah.
There's just too many entry points. There's too many areas where you can sneak in a little ward. Like, you can't go here and be sure that the enemy team can't see you. It's not the same with the triangle. The triangle is basically the same fucking thing. Like, if you want to spend 4 sentries here, you can know they don't have vision. You can't do that here. You need to spend like 12 sentries to do that. So these are your recovery areas. It's like the triangle and these like top or bot. That's what I call them. But these like side jungles. So anyway, that's something you could be doing this whole time. Unless PL wants to do it, and then, you know, you just get this wave and kind of farm wherever you can, which would probably be the triangle.
I'll take that.
Let's see. Probably go until we see like one more team fight. Because I think that's been the primary... The primary issue right now is just this indecisiveness. Which I totally understand. It happens to everybody. But I wouldn't let the rank thing phase you. Like, just because you know you're playing against Archons, like, it's not that far away from where you were. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And
I am seeing players on both teams make the same mistakes that we would see in the other games from before. So it's a little bit harder, but it shouldn't be like dramatically harder. I can see you're like definitely in like defensive team fight mode, right? I just want to look at that last one here. So this call on Storm Spirit, I like that you landed it, but you have no follow-up damage to it. And I think you should be pretty confident that you're not going to solo kill him. And if you don't solo kill a Storm Spirit, what does he do?
He just fucking falls away.
He just kills you or he zips away, right? So this, I want you to look at this as actually kind of a squandered opportunity. Like, even though you landed the call and that can feel good and all that stuff, if you had your team with you when you landed this, you could have actually killed him here, and that would have been a significant tempo swing. Because he's being a dingus and he's grabbing the outpost while his team is too far away from him, and he doesn't know that this is dewarded, right? Like, you guys spot him with 2 wards here. This is Storm misplaying here. This could have been actually a big turnaround. I saw that you pinged it and everything. That's great, but you do definitely need to wait for them to actually be in position to do something with it.
Yeah.
And this type of stuff is going to matter more and more. Like, the better the players are that you're playing against, the more these kind of like team coordination things and waiting for proper timing and waiting to combo things together is actually going to make the difference. Because the Storm is not like... He's experienced enough to know that if you went for this, you felt confident doing it, which means there's probably other people on the way. And so maybe at your bracket, you jump on this guy and then he decides to man fight you. And that gives your team time to show up and kill him, right?
Yeah.
But in this bracket, or really any bracket that's higher than where you are currently, it doesn't even matter if we're talking about Archon or Divine or whatever the fuck. He's going to be like, oh, why did he choose to do this to me? Is he bad enough that he thinks he can solo kill me, or is he setting up for his team and It's just not not well executed, right? Yeah. He's gonna figure that out immediately and just be like, I'm out. And so if you don't get it right, the kill doesn't happen, and then it's kind of a reset, and now you guys have like lost that opportunity, right? Or worse, he kills you and then kills the rest of your team. That's the worst outcome that comes out of that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it's just tough because it's like it feels like, I mean, maybe it, like obviously it's probably still one of those things where I just have to like wait, even if it ends up being a missed opportunity. But it felt like either I jump him now or he just like gets away. Like he just walks away and can zip away or goes somewhere else, and it's like we missed like the chance at something.
Yeah, but without your team being there to actually do the damage,
it's not really a real opportunity. Exactly.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah, there wasn't actually an opportunity there anyway, so
yeah.
You know. Another minor thing, don't forget to turn on blade mail while you're farming.
True.
And don't let this hoodwink take all the goddamn farm, because you're level 16. Yeah, you're just getting very passive is the main problem here. What were you gonna say?
It was like at a point where it felt like I started to give up farm to him because I'm like, I mean, I don't love the fact that he just like decided to become a core, but like I'm like, realistically, I can't take this farm as safely as he can. If I walk up, I could get Storm Spirit on me, or I could have Slaughter blink on me, or I could even have Lynch pull me.
Yeah, but I think just if you're talking about this specific wave, I think you need to be keeping in mind what's going on the map to really judge that. So, okay, right now you see, what do you see? See their supports. Their supports are busy dewarding, right? If you go ahead and farm this, is Lich gonna pull you here? You know? Is AA gonna waste his ult on you? Like, the only reason AA would do that is if Storm is deciding to zip onto you, right?
Yeah.
But do you think they're gonna do that onto your high ground when Zeus isn't showing? I mean, Witch Doctor's dead, sure, but Zeus isn't showing. PL's showing bottom, so they have a pretty good idea PL's not here. But Hoodwink's right here, right? Like, the Storm potentially throws the game jumping on you here. So, basically, in a nutshell, you can feel safe to farm this. Because it's just, you have enough information to know that they're not actually going to gank you right here. You should be fine. And, you know, another thing, just to point it out, it's not super relevant, but she's farming us in the exact same way you would, just standing in the middle of the creep wave, right?
Yeah.
So I think you're just you're psyching yourself out a little bit here. I mean, you guys are 20k down for sure, right? Good kill on the Storm Spirit, I like it, but there's been about, God, I don't even know. Since the mid racks went down, playstyle has just gotten incredibly passive. So that's just I'd say that's the main thing to work on here. That's the main takeaway. It's just like, yeah, the games are harder, but you still need to have that confidence in yourself. It's like, well, you deserve to be here, right? Like, the game put you here with these other players. Like, if they're better than you, they're not that much better than you. You know, like, you're supposed to be playing with these guys, so don't worry about it. You know, like, that took me a while. So like, when I started getting matched against like Ancients and Divines and stuff like that when I was in Legend, it was like, ooh, it's an Ancient player, holy shit, right? And it would kind of phase you a little bit, and you're like, oh, this guy's outplaying me and all this stuff, because they generally were outplaying me, right? But then once I saw enough of it, like, once you get enough games with Archon players, you're gonna notice, like, they just do some dumb shit, right?
Yeah.
I noticed that too. Like, I got the Divine, and I'm like, what is this idiot on my team doing? And the dude's like Divine 3, and I'm like, this guy doesn't even understand the game. Right? So it's just like, I ended up in the same place of just being like, yeah, this dude's high rank and he's really good, but it's like, I'm not even like that impressed by it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was the same thing in Ancient. So once you play a few games here, you'll settle in and you'll get used to it, and it won't like freak you out anymore that they're Archons, you know, because you'll be like, look at this dummy. What's he doing? Going Midas on this hero or whatever the hell it is, or look at that stupid feed. Like you'll just start noticing the same stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like that does that help? Does that make sense?
Absolutely. I mean, it's already kind of been like the first game I played, I didn't even realize I was playing against Archons until we had won already, and I was like, oh fuck.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good. It's really good. That's always a good feeling. You're like, wait, that guy was what?
Yeah.
And we won? Awesome. Yeah, that'll give you a lot of confidence.
Radiant's bottom tower.
All right. Cool. Well, let's run it through. Let's see if there's maybe one more thing, and then we'll debrief. I need to click on the right thing. I can't click anything right now. I think the items are fine. You notice that you needed to do blink before blade mail. That's really the only thing I would change, right?
Yeah.
I think you need BKB here for sure. Yeah, and kind of same thing as before. Like if they're not threatening like a real push, then you can go off and do other stuff, and as long as you're ready to TP back, like it's fine.
Stay frosty.
Radiant's middle
Like I guess just in general, try and center your gameplay more around the edges of the map as opposed to the middle of the map.
Yeah.
are scanning.
But like you've definitely had some good pickoffs and stuff, so that's great. Oh, Witch Doctor is hella feeding, man. Oh shit. That's unfortunate.
Yeah. I mean, it was a lot of stuff like that too that didn't help, but you know, at this, especially getting into harder and harder matches, thinking about my team is not useful because it's only going to be harder and harder for my own matchups.
Thinking about like what your team's doing wrong, you mean?
Yeah.
I know this isn't relevant to you. I'm just very, very curious what happened in this Roche fight. Because I saw that PL died and Hoodwink denied the fucking Aegis.
Yeah. I don't know. He was flaming everybody. I think it was a mistake. He had been flaming everybody earlier, but I don't think it was like, fuck you guys. I think he wanted to win.
Has fallen to the
Oh no. Yeah, it looks like he shot it on accident, and then PL dies to fucking Frost Blast. That super sucks.
Yeah, because I felt like that could have been a turning point.
Yeah, no, that would have been it.
Yeah.
If PL didn't die there, that actually would have been the game like completely flipping on its head. That sucks. Oh well. Well, okay, so that's another thing. If this dude is flaming everybody, was it the Hoodwink doing it?
Yeah,
or?
it was
All right. So that is immediately, like I've noticed lately, like if anybody starts flaming, it actually just torpedoes the whole fucking game.
yeah.
So like the discussion of like, oh, why did we lose this game and all this stuff, like it can actually just be because this dude is flaming everyone, like,
Yeah.
you know, because like even though it might not tilt you, it might tilt someone else out, and then they make a misplay. You know, like this Witch Doctor, for instance. Like I don't know what the Hoodwink said to him, but like, do you think he would have died 17 times? Like, if people weren't flaming, maybe he'd be paying more attention to what he's doing or whatever, right? Maybe you're playing with more confidence because like nobody's flaming. Because like this happens to me too. I notice when people start flaming or whatever, like if I make a mistake or whatever, like I lose a lot of confidence in what I'm doing, and I stop making calls and everything, right? And it actually just makes everything worse, right? Like I start not doing things because I'm worried about getting flamed. And that's the worst reason to do something. Like
Right.
that should not be your thinking. And it's very, very hard to break that habit of like, ooh, I want to go for this kill, but I'm worried if I mess it up, then they'll flame me or something. Or like like when you're going for a kill and you don't want to kill steal and then the guy gets away.
Yeah.
Right. And you're like, oh, I didn't want to steal it. I was worried he would get mad or whatever. Right. Like that's the definition of toxicity. Like someone else is being a dick and then it makes you second guess what you're doing and then you play worse because of it, right?
Yeah, it's like fucking up a chronosphere.
Exactly. And then you're scared to do it because you're like, oh, what if I miss again and they all call me bad names? Oh, yeah, it's tough. So what I would do, the best shielding I can offer against that is if someone starts flaming, immediately fucking mute them and then tell the guy that he was flaming that he's doing fine and it's cool. And don't worry about it, dude.
I did do that to Witch Doctor earlier.
Nice. Okay.
But yeah. No, I feel you. I do want. What are your thoughts on the opposite, on the counter? How do you feel about tipping somebody else when they like the enemy fucks up? Because sometimes I feel like that can like work in your favor, and other times it's like you feed a beast.
You activate the rage mode.
Yeah.
I try not to be toxic, but I will only start tipping the other team if they're being gigantic assholes. Yeah. Like if they're like pausing after every fucking kill, and they're talking shit and all this stuff, I'll start doing that stuff back to them. But other than that, I don't do it.
I've definitely had games where it's like, Axe is shit talking Zeus in all chat, and I'm like, let him talk to you like that, man?
Oh yeah, for sure. Like, yeah, I mean, like bantering between teams, I think is actually something like, I don't want to like encourage you to be an asshole or anything like that. Right. But I think it can actually like really help, especially if you can create like a common enemy.
Yeah.
Like I'll be like, I'll refer to the other team as like assholes and dicks and dumbasses and all that stuff. And they're just, they're not. They're just other players. But I'll be like, gank this fucking moron. What's he doing here? You know what I mean? Like, I'll talk mad shit to the other team. Like not in all chat, but that's how I'll treat the enemy team as like the other.
Yeah.
Like, fuck them, dude. Like,
yeah.
And that can help build some camaraderie as well, right? Yeah. So like I don't know, like dunk on this asshole or fuck this guy or whatever. Just like try that out. Yeah. No, I'm not usually the first one to start tipping people, but like I'll start getting toxic to the other team if they're being toxic for sure. What are we gonna say?
Yeah, I don't do that too much, but definitely in the past, like there'll be times like somebody's obviously feeding on their team, and I'll be like, man, you guys would have won if it wasn't for this dude, or you guys would be so much better. Yeah, just to sow a little bit of seeds of hatred.
Now, one thing I would be careful of though, if they're making a mistake, don't point it out.
Yeah, that's true too.
So like that is a dangerous thing. So like I don't know, whatever the hell it is, like they're.
I mean, it can even be that saying that they're feeding, like, they might get mad initially, but then it's like they might realize, oh shit, even the enemy team knows I'm feeding.
Right.
Like clearly I got to do something different. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like an old like war philosophy thing. I can't remember if it's fucking Sun Tzu or Napoleon or whatever the fuck. But anyway, some old dead guy said like, if the enemy's making a mistake, let him make the mistake. Kind of things. Like, so like don't be like, why are you going on me? I'm the axe. Like if the storm initiates on you, you can be like, look at this idiot storm initiating on me. Like you want him to do that, right? Yeah. Like don't talk shit in that way. So yeah, for sure. Okay, well, that's probably a lot of stuff to think about. It's been an hour. So do you have any other questions about this or anything I didn't go over?
No, I think it's just, a lot of new shit to get used to.
Yeah, it's gonna take a minute.
There's like new items I'm like not even quite sure how to use. Like harpoon was interesting to me. I kind of understand it somewhat when to use that, but then there's that one that's like gives damage to like your target spell and adds a slow.
Phylactery, yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, when would you really want that?
Yeah, no, that's that's a weird one.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna take a lot of time to get used to stuff. The only other thing we didn't talk about was the axe changes. Actually, we probably should have looked at that, because I know his E is different now. Let's have a look real quick and think about if that changes anything. Where the hell is Axe? Oh, there he is. So obviously duration of Berserker's Call went down. So counter helix damage went up. Level 1, which is pretty nice. After set number of attacks taken, attacks to trigger 7, 6, 4. Increases proc chance, now reduces the cooldown of counter helix to 0 seconds. Okay. So this is... I don't know how significant of a change this is. The pseudo-random, or not using pseudo-random on the counter helix. How do you feel about it? You still there? Did I lose you? Did he crash? I think he crashed. Alright, let's catch up on chat then. What's up, Cybrick? What's up, Sweet? What's up, Cinerus?
You there?
Oh, we good?
There,
we good?
it's back there.
All
Yeah.
right.
You said, I don't know how much of a big deal this is, but...
Yeah, counter helix being like a set number of attacks to trigger. Did it feel very different?
So I thought about that, and I was like, I think maybe it makes it slightly worse early game, and makes it slightly better late game.
That makes sense.
Because I think maybe you're getting a little bit less counter helix early, but late, I think it might be something that makes Aghanim's Shard worth considering a lot more, because now it reduces the cooldown. So it's like, if you get a good call, it only takes 4 attacks to trigger. So if you call 3 or 4 people, I mean, you're just fucking, killing them.
Yeah, spin to win, right?
Yeah.
That's true. I think I would agree with that. I think the main thing it changes is that because at level 1, you know you need 7 attacks. That actually does make defensive aggroing the first wave super good. Because you defensive aggro, you get a bunch of stacks, and then you just click on the guy, and then you like immediately spin, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It might take a little bit of like doing to like get the feel for how long it takes to get those stacks, but that probably means like Axe wants to take Helix level 1, right, against a melee guy, immediately aggro, and then start clicking on him. And you probably want to do this like in and out thing, like kind of like with Slardar, right, where you're like, okay, I'm gonna like build up some stacks, then I'm gonna hit him, then back off and build up the stacks and go back in again, right? I think it might be the same thing with Axe, because this does, making it like a set number does like, it does a lot of things actually. It makes it so it's very predictable when it's going to happen, which is great for you because you're the one keeping track of it, right? And it just also means that your DPS throughout the entire game is going to be way more consistent than it was before. Because I think before, like, I would have games with Axe where it's like, oh, I lost my lane, I'm going to go jungle, and then I'm just like never spinning on the jungle creeps, and I'm like getting mad that it's not triggering. I'm like, I know I'm supposed to be able to jungle faster than this garbage, but it's just never going off, right?
Yeah.
So overall, it should just make your DPS more consistent, which means you're not getting like super high spikes of spinning a bunch when you kind of weren't really supposed to, or never spinning when you really were supposed to, right?
Right.
So I guess that, I don't know what you really do with that. It's just like you can actually set expectations now for it, and you can set it up as well. That's the other big thing. Like if you are thinking about it, like, okay, let's build some stacks and then let's go helix them, right? You can actually plan that. Like you can even plan it to like, I'm going to get to like let's say it's level 4, I'm gonna get to 3 stacks off a creep, then I'm gonna blink and call and immediately helix, right? Off of his first attack. Like you can actually plan that. Kind of like with Slardar, you build up some stacks and it's like blink, bash, stun, and then you gotta start building up bashes again.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So if you're gonna play Axe more, like be thinking about like this this whatever you call it, helix stack thing. Because I didn't even know they changed it until I saw your buff bar, and I'm like, what the fuck is this? Counter helix stacks? So yeah, that's something to be thinking about too. All right, man. Well, if there's nothing else, I think we covered a lot of stuff. So let's take our notes here. So answer number 1, how do we respond to our lane? Kind of completely forgot about that one. But I would say, are you thinking about like just the Abaddon Lich matchup, or was the problem here just that so many people started showing up to your lane?
A little bit of both. It felt like I didn't really know how to like if there was a way for me to swing the lane way more in my favor, or if like there wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
Like if it was just meant to be even. And then once people started showing up, I was like, okay, well, what the fuck is this?
Yeah. Cool. Let's see. Let's say the first one was the Battle Hunger. Don't need a mango. Rob start Helix level 1. Because of that. So like because in that lane, because Battle Hunger is not good against Abaddon, because Helix is better level 1, you didn't need the mango there, right? So that's all those things add up together. You needed to get the Lotus pool because it showed up twice. So that's another thing to think about. And then other than that, it was fine. But then once everybody starts showing up to your lane, that's when I think I would have just swapped lanes.
Yeah.
And you can TP there, or you can use the gate, just so long as you're willing to do it in the reverse if you need to come back, right? So it would be preferable to use the gate to leave and then have your TP ready to TP like back to your own tower or something. Okay. And then was Axe a good pick? I think he's decent. It's not the best Axe game, but it's fine. I think this would have been a good Legion Commander game. Like LC or would Sand King be good?
I thought about that because I did have the Sand King. I didn't have the option. I've been getting fucking banned on Sand King like every game.
Gotcha. It wouldn't even be that good of a Sand King game anyway, just with their lineup. The fact that Slardar has Corrosive Haze, like it's actually not even a good Slardar game or Sand King game. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It wouldn't be great here. I think it's probably a decent Magnus game because 2 of their cores are melee.
Yeah.
I don't think Axe is the worst. It's not the best though. So Axe is fine. Not great. What would be good here? I mean, Mars is always good. Probably a good, decent Centaur lane, maybe. I don't know.
About
yeah, it's kind of. There's not really that much of a difference, to be honest. I think the only other one that would have been maybe good is Underlord, simply because you can root Storm Spirit. You don't know about the Storm Spirit pick, so not knowing that, it doesn't really matter. But if you did know there was going to be a Storm Spirit, then maybe the Underlord would have been better here. But it's not relevant because he picked at the same time as you. Let's see. So I hope that kind of answers that question.
Yeah.
I don't think I play enough off lane to really like give a 100% answer yes or no on that.
Yeah.
I think it's fine though. Yeah, it's fine. And then game hard what do? So this one was a big one. So be willing to farm side jungle more. Try to organize your team to get the tormentors. Think about using the gates to split push or gank or whatever. Use those a lot more. And then I think other than that, it just kind of comes down to just the execution in fights and being overly passive.
This is like a side question.
Yeah.
Do you think Boots of Travel 1 is less value and Boots of Travel 2 is more value now? Because I feel like with you really want to, you know, like you were saying, playing the side lanes, you have the gates. So like getting to like either of the side lanes isn't that hard, but it might be more value to have Boots of Travel 2 because your teammates can get caught out in kind of like more remote areas of the map that are harder to get to, or maybe they can jump on somebody that's a little bit out there, and being able to teleport on a teammate is a little bit more valuable.
I think personally, given the sheer amount of mobility that is built into this map with the gates and with the extra outposts, I think bots go down in value in general. I like your idea of like maybe it's easier to like help people that are isolated, right, with Boots of Travel 2, but that's very expensive. That's a lot of money investing for that.
Yeah.
So I would say for mid laners, bots are probably fine because they don't have access to any of that stuff, right?
Yeah.
The side lanes are now hyper goddamn mobile, and mid lane is kind of just in an island, right? So my prediction is the meta is going to be mid lanes that are either going bots or they're kind of just farming mids. It's like Invoker, Sniper, mid lane.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like people they're just not interacting with mid as much. It feels really hard to like go gank the side lane anyway from mid.
Yeah.
So I think it's probably going to be kind of that, but I don't know. I'm not a mid player. It might go the exact opposite. It might be that it's like Quap, Ember, Void Spirit, Puck, like all the hyper gankers, right?
Right.
That's who the hell knows. I think that actually has less to do with the map and more to do with like what heroes are strong in the meta right now based on what items are good, right?
Yeah.
So as an example, like if they made Boots of Travel more expensive, then you just automatically would see less Batrider. Right?
Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say it makes it a little bit more interesting because it's like, if your like mid gets ganked, you like they might be giving up the objectives on the side, so it gives like a little bit more. I don't know. It's not as bad now whenever somebody like leaves and ganks your mid because you can be like, all right, well, let's grab this or that.
Yeah, that's true. Like, but I think again, these side objectives, while there is a lot of stuff to be doing, none of them are hyper impactful.
Yeah.
So like the Watcher Tower really doesn't do that much. A Lotus here and there is not like I would never not save my mid because I want to grab the Lotus, right?
Right.
So it's not that critical. The main thing is that in the mid game, the side lanes become super important because of Roche and because of these gates being right next to each other. So like, whereas before, like, you know, like your bot tower goes down and it's kind of like, oh, this is the dead lane, we don't go here anymore, and now we're gonna farm here and we're gonna try and take their side of the map. Like, that's the key dynamic that switches in this patch. So I actually think it's worth defending your tier 1 safe lane tower because the longer you keep this up, the more
Yeah.
added control you had of this area, right?
True.
These are nice mini objectives, but this is like the objective, right? Roche is right here. So yeah, I don't know. It's a tough. It's too early in the patch to like really answer that, like what the mid lane's effect is on everything. It's just my prediction that it's gonna be kind of like mid farms, sort of like mid Midas, like mid Alchemist, like mid Invoker, Sniper, like that kind of a hero. They're kind of happy to just sit here and let things happen on the side. I think that's what's gonna happen, but I might be totally wrong about that.
Yeah.
But here, let's give you some homework. So I think the main thing to be keeping in mind with this patch. So first thing is, don't be phased by people's ranks. So just remember, like, you earned it getting here, right? You deserve to play with these guys. They're not even that good. It's still just Archon. Don't worry about it. Don't let that freak you out. Like, try really hard to just play the way you always would.
Yeah.
That's going to be a really big thing. Have the confidence to play normally. And the only other thing we'll do is get the lotuses. Get the lotuses and look for opportunities to use the gates whenever possible. I don't mean like you have to use it all the time, but I mean like literally think about it. And if it's like a choice of like, ooh, do I TP or do I need to walk there, or can I just use the gate to get there super fast, or like this entirely changes the game for me. This is like the most important thing in the patch is these goddamn twin gates. So
Yeah.
just be thinking about it all the time. Ooh, could I use the gate for something cool? If you can't come up with a good answer, then don't use it. That's fine. I'm just saying, like, just always consider it, you know?
Yeah.
Especially in moments where it's like, ooh, we just killed them. Check top lane. Like, are they in a position where you could go through the gate and come out behind them and kill them? Like, that's some next level shit if you can do that. It's going to help with like map awareness. I think map awareness in general is going to be a lot more important because of these things. And it's going to mean like both side lanes are going to need to be like looking at the other side lane and seeing like, oh, are they about to use the gate? Are they about to gank me? Can we gank them? Right? That's a big thing. So do you think that's all things you could work on?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, it's I didn't expect it to kind of be thrown into it. I thought it was going to be like, you know, closer to like a high guardian, low crusader, but here we are.
Yeah. Well, I think another thing is like people's ranks are going all over the frickin' place now.
Yeah.
Like it's the definition of like how good, you know, Archon or Legend or Ancient or whatever is might change a little bit because people's ranks are moving around so much.
Yeah.
But I think it is also a little bit of a case of like a lot of people have ranks that they have from a long time ago and they just never play ranks, so their rank confidence went down. And then also so they're kind of like washed up in that way, right? And I think the other thing is like getting stuck in a bracket is like a real thing for people. Like it's,
Yeah.
you have to get like to get, if you get stuck in Herald and you've been there for a few thousand games, like it is really hard to get out of there, you know? Like you're dealing with so much different stuff. And so I think it's like, if a player has like really good base mechanics and they think about the game well and then they recalibrate, like they're probably not going to end up in the same place, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense to me. I'm not surprised that you ended up playing with Archon dudes.
Yeah.
Not at all. And you're beating them too, which is great. I called it.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll take some time, but I mean it's definitely super refreshing to now like not feel like, okay, I know I'm probably gonna win my lane. So I gotta look out for like these things. Now it's like new challenges, like you might not win your lane. Like some dude might be fucking stupid good at this character. Like you better be ready to figure out how you're gonna counter that, you know?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Did I miss anything in the notes here? There's definitely a lot of stuff I went over. Do you think there's anything worth recording here so you don't forget it?
I think just like, thinking about execution.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
want to I'm trying to keep that one as a big one, like a big kind of overall for all like of these sessions,
Yeah. Okay.
just because I think that's something that's always relevant, like you might have the items, you might have the right hero, you might be at the right place at the right time, but if you do it the wrong way, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Definitely. Don't. So those are the two things we talk about. So thinking about your best target to blink call,
Yeah.
and then also don't initiate unless you have the follow up damage.
Yeah.
Those are two things as well. And actually, I'm just gonna put that in here. We'll put it in your homework. So we'll copy paste that one because I think that is a big thing. So like think about like what's gonna happen if I initiate? Like, is it actually gonna result in the kill? Right.
Yeah.
Cool. Alrighty. That's pretty good. I will copy this over to you. And then I want to go play some games.
Hell yeah.
Are we good for next Monday?
Yes.
Cool. All right. Well, then I will see you then, my dude.
I
Have
appreciate
fun in your
it.
games. Yeah, definitely. Good session.
Hell yeah. All right, catch you around.
All right. See you, dude. Have a good one. Alrighty. And thank you for watching, guys. I hope that was helpful. This new patch brings a lot of new stuff to be thinking about. So this one went a little bit longer than I would have liked, but it is really important. Don't forget about these twin gates. Check me out on Twitch at Mr. Rip TV. I stream every weekday. And don't forget to check the playlist at the end of the video. I've got other Dota coaching videos. I just did some patch notes videos. I want to make some more videos on the new patch as well, so be looking out for those. And I will see you in the next one.